What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and today I'm going to be doing my best in video format to answer a very, very popular question that I've been getting on Twitter that I've answered a couple times, but I never really go in depth because I thought, maybe it will be a video down the road, and I figure I might as well do it now because it's quite a, a polarizing topic amongst Eagle fans that watch my video, because I was kind of harsh on the Philadelphia Eagles draft. I mean, still giving them a B-. It wasn't like I gave them Fs or Ds or anything overreactionary, but I did give them the lowest grade inside of the NFC East, and there is some outlier factors, such as they don't have as many picks. They only had 5 picks versus teams that had 7, 8, 9. So by that standard, players that I like might go to the teams that have way more picks. So but still a B-. I feel like at points Philadelphia could have done better in their draft. So what we're gonna do today is a Philadelphia Eagles redraft. So early to do this, but this is definitely something I want to maybe revert to in reference to maybe a couple years down the road and see who's a better GM, who's a better draft in the 2018. Was it the front office that's probably the best front office in football right now with Howie Roseman and Joe Douglas, or is this guy that just runs a YouTube channel and talks a lot of shit? Well, let's find out. So we are two things. One, we're going on the assumption that we made the trade with the Baltimore Ravens so they can go get Lamar Jackson, even though I still will never ever agree with the valuation that we got on it. It's still very nice to have a first-round pick next year, 2 second rounds, nice thing. Also, the trades, we traded up a couple picks to go to 49 in the second round. I believe we also traded up in the 7th round. We're just going to use the picks that they actually drafted their players at, so assume maybe the trades actually happened. Yeah, so at pick 49 for the Philadelphia Eagles in the second round, because we traded out of the first round, I still have them going with Dallas Goedert, the tight end from South Dakota State. Now, alternative options here, I had Darius Geis. If you're following me on Twitter, I was kind of pounding the table there, but that was before the altercation, if it actually happened, between Geis and the Eagles front office happened. Ronnie Harrison, who ended up going in the 3rd round of the Jacksonville Jaguars, was a nice little option. Same with Justin Reed. But really, it's a 1A, 1B here for the pick. It was either Dallas Goedert, the tight end, or maybe looking at Isaiah Oliver, the corner from Colorado. Just because the uncertainty over Ronald Darby, if he's only there for 1 more year, I would love to add another talented corner, guy with a first-round pedigree that was still available there at pick 49. But, we'll go into the assumption that they did want to replace, I'm working for the Eagles here, that we wanted to replace Trey Burton and have that potential Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez tight end combo, minus, the homicide, the murders, and all that stuff. So Goddard, man, he is Odell Beckham Jr. in the tight end. Okay, we'll say he has Odell's hands in a tight end's body. And as much as I think Isaiah Oliver long term might be more value, higher ceiling, Goddard's pretty damn interesting. If he can pan out, I believed he was the top tight end in the class. I just couldn't put him there because he didn't test at the combine, and a lot of those measurables. You kind of want to know from smaller school prospects and see how they stack up against the big dogs. But ultimately, I could probably say, if he's probably not as athletic as Mike Gesicki, but he's more athletic than the 2nd-tier running back, Hayden Hurst and stuff like that. So ultimately I will say he's the #1 tight end in the draft class because of what he proven receiving ability and talent that he has. So we're saying, yeah, we're keeping Dallas Goedert here at pick 49. Going to our second pick in the 4th round at 125, where we originally drafted Avonte Maddox from Pitt to be our nickel corner. He ran fast. That was about it. I have us, however, selecting DJ Reed, cornerback from Kansas State. So I'm going same position of need, same nickel corner spot, but I'm going with, in my opinion, a better prospect. Now, Maddox, for me, I thought that was a reach. I thought personally he was, 5th, 6th round, somewhere in that range. He was a speedster, 4.39 at the combine, straight line speed. You don't necessarily need that for the nickel spot. Nickel spot's more fast twitch muscles, guys that are gamers, guys that are willing to tackle, which Maddox does. He got a bunch of sacks. That's probably the strength of his game from the nickel spot, is his tackling ability. But I think more so DJ Reed is everything we need. Might not have as much straight line speed as Maddox, but I think for the twitch muscles, for his agility, he's better. He also adds, some dynamic ability in the return game, which is definitely, it's a low-key position for the Eagles. Yes, we got Darren Sproles back, and yes, I'm taking that in consideration with this mock draft. That's awesome news. He probably will be maybe heavily focused in the return game because Corey Clement is more that guy we're going to want out there on 3rd downs. But, long term, we don't have a proven option. Kenyon Browner's probably not going to be there, but a guy like DJ Reed, who I still think is a better nickel prospect or slot corner for the Eagles, also gives you proven return ability. He's one of the better returners that declared in this year's draft class. So yeah, really the Maddox pick was probably my most frustrated pick. And I don't hate Maddox as a prospect, but reading from Pitt fans, they pretty much say, yeah, you're going to get a guy that's actually, for a smaller corner, good at tackling, good at, you know, getting in the backfield and actually, you know, if you want to bring him on a blitz. But they pretty much said anytime Pitt gave up a big play, it seemed like it was him. So I just feel like 4th round was a little too rich for my blood, and DJ Reed, who I believe went to the Niners, was a little bit better prospect. Another alternative option here was Perry Nickerson, corner from Tulane. Not really a proven nickel, but with his speed, he can go on the outside. I feel like he probably could, you know, fit a slightly round peg into a slightly small red round peg hole. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would fit eventually. You just had to, you know, maybe grind it down a little bit and make it a perfect fit. That's a great analogy. You guys can use that one in your personal lives. So then with our second 4th round pick at 130, I was staying with our pick, Josh Sweat, defensive end from Florida State. Now, defensive end immediately does not look like, why are we going defensive end? This is a rich get richer. We don't need defensive end help. But A, Josh Sweat pretty much is the same athlete that Jadeveon Clowney is. B, good value. Sitting here in the 4th round, Josh Sweat, even with his injury history, probably could have went late 2nd to mid 3rd. That's probably where his value was. So him sitting at 130, assuming that he passed the medical, which I assume he did for the Philadelphia Eagles, that's really, really good value. And then C, looking at, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles edge rushers, long term, I mean, there's some uncertainty. We don't know necessarily what's going to go on with Brandon Graham's contract. That could go south. We got Chris Long on a 1-year deal, Michael Bennett on a 1-year deal. So, like, long term at D end, we have Derek Barnett, and you would assume Brandon Graham. But, you know, I could definitely see in a 1-year time span, the 1 year that Josh Sweat's going to be able to be in the locker room, get acclimated to the NFL, and still be able to, you know, get some snaps as a rotational rusher. In 1 year, he could initially shoot up to be the number 2, number 3 defensive end. Defensive end could be one of those things that from this year it looks fine to next year being a little bit of a need. So this is a kind of a proactive move here for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I really do like the Josh Sweat pick. And it's pretty much, when you look at anyone that's talking about the Eagles draft, it's probably the one big pick that everyone's giving great grades for the Philadelphia Eagles on getting. Moving to the 6th round at pick 206, where we selected tackle / guard Matt Pryor from TCU, who's, you know, this is where my draft's going to go more so me and how I would draft, and not really the tendencies that Doug and the front office wants, which, you know, obviously that's not the best thing you want to hear when you're trying to make a somewhat realistic Eagles mock draft. But Pryor does fit the mold of what Doug Peterson wants for his offensive lineman. We've seen it with Big V, Siumalo. Those are like the 2 premier offensive linemen that he has actually drafted, the big mauler type. And Matt Pryor fits that big mauler type. However, I'm going value. I'm going for the pick that actually went right after Pryor, Equanimeous St. Brown, the wide receiver from Notre Dame. I feel like we could definitely add more speed, and what St. Brown gives you is a project-type player that has tremendous speed. And at this point in the draft, even though he's 6'5", even though you assume like, oh, this guy's a possession guy, he probably had the most speed out of any draftable wide receiver still available. I feel like with that size, the height, weight, speed ability, the straight, we don't need to throw him to the Wolves. He can literally sit behind, compete with maybe Shelton Gibson or some of those guys for the back-end roster spots, you know, because we're set. It is going to be, you know, Mike Wallace on the outside, Alshon Jeffrey on the outside, Aguilar inside, and then you get to have, you know, Mac Hollins compete for snaps, and then you can have a guy like St. Brown compete for snaps on the outside. I feel like it's just a low risk. Now, there's reports that he's kind of a diva. I think that's the reason why he slipped this far, because a lot of people probably had 3rd, 4th round grade on St. Brown, and I mean, if that's the case, I mean, I probably would already write him off the board, but we don't know that for sure. And, you know, I think it's worth a gamble. A 6th round pick for a guy like him. And it's always tough to judge these Notre Dame players. Notre Dame and LSU wide receivers are probably the 2 toughest wide receivers to judge because, yeah, a lot of them will always have good athletic ability, but there haven't been a good quarterback at either one of those schools for like a decade. So it's not like they have the best take to be able to put forward. Now, 2 other wide receivers we could consider, Alan Lazard and Simi Cos. Both those guys went undrafted. Now, I'm not going to really act out how undrafted free agents could have went, but I would have probably had those guys at the top of my list. But still, shout out to the Eagles for getting Josh Adams and Toby Weathersby, Jeremy Reeves. Those are 3 really, really strong undrafted free agents. But those are 2 other wide receivers I would not hesitate to take in the 6th round if we really deemed wide receiver in need. And personally, I would like to add a wide receiver. That's why we got St. Brown over Matt Pryor. And then finish up the draft here in the 7th round at 233, where we traded up to get the rugby player Jordan Mailata project, right? That's where we're gambling on an athlete that he might be able to make a transition. I don't hate that pick, to be honest with you. The only picks I don't really like is the Matt Pryor and Avonte Maddox one. The Mailata, it's the 7th round. That's what the 7th round is for. It's for drafting guys that, hey, we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they can develop into something, maybe not. Maybe he'll just go on the practice squad and bounce. It's a 7th round pick. And for a team that gets as strong as undrafted free agents as the Eagles do, you know, your 7th round gives you the luxury to make just outrageous picks like that. However, understanding that if they evaluate at 233 a project tackle The guy for me is Desmond Harrison, the tackle from West Georgia. Now, lots of red flags. That's why he's going in the 7th round. But as far as a project tackle that's actually played tackle, that actually went to the combine and put up equally as freaky numbers as Mailata, I feel like it's a slightly higher chance of succeeding than Mailata. The fact that Harrison went undrafted, I believe he went to the Browns. Don't quote me on that. I think he went to the Browns. Give me that. He was the belle of the ball from the combine. Ran great. Looked good in the drills, to be completely honest with you. For a guy that, has been in and out of football for the last 4 or 5 years, he looked really, really smooth and really, really solid in the drills. And I think goes against the grain of what Philadelphia wants. Even though we do have Kelsey, that's from a previous era, we don't give a more so, the undersized guys during the Doug Pearson era. The undersized athletic guys, the Lane Johnsons, the Kelseys, came beforehand. But it seems like Doug is just adamant on getting the big maulers, even though his best offensive linemen are, well, I mean, not the best, but 2 of his best are at the agile form, where you have the power guys in Peters and Brandon Brooks. But I think Harrison, for me, if you're going project tackle in the 7th, that is where I would have went over Mailata. So really, only 3 different picks. I mean, it is more than half. But I still credit to the Eagles for that 2nd and 4th round pick. I think Goddard and Josh Sweat might be 2 rookies that I definitely am interested in seeing. But now you can know. If you want to trust what I have to say and maybe compare the careers over the next couple of years for those of you guys with memories like a damn elephant, DJ Reed over Avonte Maddox, Equinemius St. Brown over Matt Pryor, and Desmond Harrison over Jordan Mailata. Those are the 3 changes I would have made. So let me know, for you guys out there, you Eagle fans, more importantly, if you would have redraft for the Philadelphia Eagles, what players would you have drafted different? What players would you have had the same? Let me know in the comment section below. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed, and until next time, it is C4 saying, make sure you stay tuned for Saturday's video, tomorrow's video. I think you guys are really going to like it. I'll catch you then. Peace out.